Among history's most remarkable figures, Henrietta Maria was born on November 25, 1609, in France. She was the daughter of King Henry IV of France and Marie de Medici. Henrietta Maria grew up in a royal environment, surrounded by wealth and privilege. As the daughter of the king, she was exposed to a life filled with grand events and important people. However, her childhood was also marked by political instability in France, as her father was involved in the complexities of leading a country. Henrietta Maria's early life was full of learning, and she received a well-rounded education. She became fluent in several languages, including French, Italian, and Latin. As a young princess, she was admired for her beauty, intelligence, and grace. Henrietta Maria was not just a figurehead in the royal family, but also an influential and capable individual. Her early years shaped her into a woman ready to take on the responsibilities that would come with her marriage to King Charles I of England. Henrietta Maria's most significant achievement was her marriage to King Charles I of England in 1625. This marriage forged a political alliance between France and England, an important move during a time of European unrest. As Queen Consort, she was an influential figure at the English court. Henrietta Maria supported her husband through numerous political struggles, particularly during the English Civil War, when her husband's reign was challenged. One of her notable achievements was her role in supporting the royalist cause during the conflict. Henrietta Maria traveled to France and other parts of Europe to raise funds and gather troops to aid her husband's fight. Despite facing many hardships, including political and personal losses, she remained a steadfast supporter of Charles I. Her dedication to her husband's cause earned her admiration and respect from royalists, although her involvement in the war also led to criticism from her opponents. In addition to her political efforts, Henrietta Maria made lasting contributions to the arts. She was a patron of the theater and an advocate for the arts during her time in England. Her influence helped elevate the cultural life of the court. Moreover, Henrietta Maria's legacy as a queen consort was shaped by her strong-willed nature, her diplomatic skills, and her deep involvement in both the political and cultural spheres of her time. Henrietta Maria's death occurred on September 10, 1669, when she was 59 years old. After the death of her husband, King Charles I, in 1649 at the age of 55, Henrietta Maria retreated to France, where she lived in exile for the remainder of her life. Her final years were marked by personal grief, as she was deeply affected by the loss of her husband and the fall of the royalist cause. Henrietta Maria's health declined in the years leading up to her death. She suffered from several illnesses, and her health was fragile. Despite her struggles, she continued to be active in her later years, participating in religious activities and managing her estate. She spent her last days at the Château de Colombe, near Paris, where she passed away peacefully in the presence of her close family. Her death marked the end of an era for the royal family. Henrietta Maria had been a symbol of resilience and determination throughout her life, especially during the difficult years of the English Civil War. Her passing was a significant loss for both her family and the royalist supporters who had relied on her leadership and influence. She was buried in the Basilica of Saint Denis, where many French monarchs were laid to rest, ensuring her place in history as one of the most notable queens consort of her time. The death of Henrietta Maria in 1669 was met with mixed reactions, both in France and England. In France, where she had spent her final years, Henrietta Maria was remembered with great respect, especially for her enduring loyalty to her husband, King Charles I. Her passing was mourned by the royal court, and the French public acknowledged her significant role as a queen consort. Her burial in the Basilica of Saint Denis was a testament to her importance within the royal family and the French monarchy. In England, however, the reaction was more subdued. Henrietta Maria had been a polarizing figure, particularly during the English Civil War. While many royalists admired her steadfast support for King Charles, Others criticized her for her involvement in the war and her perceived foreign influence. Despite this, her death symbolized the end of the royalist cause, and it marked the conclusion of a tumultuous period in English history. Her children, including King Charles II, who later reclaimed the throne, remembered her with fondness and respect. Her legacy, particularly her resilience in the face of adversity, lived on through her descendants, who would go on to shape the future of England and the monarchy. Henrietta Maria's impact on both English and French history continued to be felt long after her death. Henrietta Maria's legacy extended far beyond her lifetime, influencing both the English and French royal families and leaving a lasting mark on European history. As a queen consort, she was a symbol of resilience, loyalty, and political astuteness. Despite the challenges she faced during the English Civil War and her subsequent years in exile, Henrietta Maria maintained her dignity and played a pivotal role in supporting the royalist cause. Her efforts to secure financial and military support for her husband's reign were instrumental, even if the royalist side ultimately lost the war. In France, Henrietta Maria's legacy was celebrated by the French court, where her influence was recognized and honored. Her connection to the French monarchy reinforced the ties between England and France during her marriage, and her presence as queen consort played a role in maintaining political relations between the two nations. Her influence on French court culture also contributed to the arts and fashion of the time, as she was a known patron of artists and musicians. In England, Henrietta Maria's legacy was more complicated. While she was often seen as a foreign influence during her time as queen consort, her children, particularly King Charles II, would later restore the monarchy, cementing her role in the history of the British royal family. Her descendants carried on her legacy of leadership, resilience, and dedication to the monarchy, and her name is remembered as a key figure in the turbulent history of the English Civil War. Henrietta Maria faced numerous personal struggles throughout her life, many of which were shaped by the political and social upheaval of her time. One of her earliest challenges was adjusting to life in England after her marriage to King Charles I in 1625. As a French princess, Henrietta Maria was initially seen as a foreign influence at the English court, where her Catholic faith clashed with the Protestant majority. This cultural and religious divide led to tensions and alienation, but Henrietta Maria remained strong in her beliefs, steadfastly supporting her Catholicism in the face of opposition. The most significant challenge of her life came during the English Civil War, when her husband's throne was threatened by Parliament. Henrietta Maria's efforts to raise funds, gather military support, and secure alliances were crucial. Yet the war ultimately led to the downfall of the monarchy. The loss of the war and the execution of her husband in 1649 were devastating blows, both personally and politically. In the aftermath, she was forced into exile in France, where she faced the grief of losing not only her husband, but also her role as Queen of England. Despite these hardships, Henrietta Maria remained a resilient and influential figure. She faced financial struggles during her exile, but continued to support her royalist cause. Her determination to protect her family and uphold her values despite these immense challenges was a testament to her strength of character. Henrietta Maria's relationships with her family were central to her life, both personally and politically. As the daughter of King Henry IV of France, she was deeply influenced by her royal upbringing. Her marriage to King Charles I of England in 1625 formed a strong political alliance between the two nations. Despite the challenges posed by their different religious beliefs, Henrietta Maria being Catholic and Charles a Protestant, their relationship was built on mutual respect and devotion. Henrietta Maria supported her husband through the turbulent times of his reign, particularly during the English Civil War. Her role as a mother was equally significant. Henrietta Maria gave birth to 9 children, although only 6 survived infancy. Among her children, King Charles II would later reclaim the English throne after the monarchy's restoration in 1660. Her other children, including James, Duke of York, later James II, and Mary, Princess of Orange, also went on to have important roles in European history. Henrietta Maria was a devoted mother, always focused on the welfare and future of her children, and her influence played a key role in shaping their characters and futures. Henrietta Maria's relationship with her family extended beyond her immediate circle. During her years in exile, she maintained close connections with her extended family in France, particularly her mother, Marie de Medici, and her brother, Louis XIV of France. These family bonds were crucial during her period of exile, providing emotional support and political connections in a time of great loss. The life of Henrietta Maria was deeply influenced by the political and religious conflicts of the 17th century. Born into the tumultuous world of early modern Europe, she grew up during a period marked by intense religious divisions, political intrigue, and royal power struggles. Her father, King Henry IV of France, was a Protestant who famously converted to Catholicism to gain the throne, embodying the religious conflicts that defined French history at the time. Henrietta Maria's marriage to King Charles I of England in 1625 occurred against the backdrop of England's own religious and political tensions. In England, the early decades of Charles's reign were marked by increasing friction between the monarchy and Parliament. Henrietta Maria, a Catholic, found herself in a difficult position as England was predominantly Protestant. This religious divide fueled much of the animosity towards her and her husband, especially as Charles's policies began to anger both Parliament and the English people. Henrietta Maria's efforts to support her husband's authority were complicated by this backdrop of religious and political conflict. The English Civil War, 1442 to 1649, was the most pivotal event during Henrietta Maria's life, as it led to the fall of the monarchy and the execution of her husband. The war was fought between the royalists, who supported King Charles I, and the parliamentarians, led by figures like Oliver Cromwell. This conflict reshaped England, leading to the temporary abolition of the monarchy and the establishment of the Commonwealth under Cromwell. Henrietta Maria's life was therefore shaped by these broader historical currents, and her personal struggles mirrored the larger battles for power, religion, and control that defined her era. Henrietta Maria made significant contributions to society, both during her reign as Queen Consort of England and after her exile. One of her key contributions was her support for the arts and culture. As a patron of the arts, she played a central role in the cultural life of the English court. She supported playwrights, artists, and musicians, helping to foster the development of English theater and music during the 17th century. Henrietta Maria's court was a place where the arts flourished, and her influence helped shape the cultural landscape of the time. In addition to her support for the arts, Henrietta Maria was an important figure in the political and military spheres. During the English Civil War, despite the challenges she faced, she worked tirelessly to support her husband's cause. She traveled to France and other parts of Europe to raise funds, recruit soldiers, and form alliances to aid the royalist cause. Although the royalists ultimately lost the war, Henrietta Maria's efforts demonstrated her unwavering commitment to the monarchy and her political acumen. After the fall of the monarchy, Henrietta Maria's contributions shifted. In her years of exile in France, she continued to support royalist causes and maintain her family's legacy. She was also an advocate for her children's futures, ensuring that they received the support and education needed to carry on the royalist ideals. Her role as a mother and her efforts to preserve the royal line ensured that the monarchy would eventually be restored in the form of her son, Charles II. Henrietta Maria's contributions, though often overshadowed by the political turmoil of her time, had a lasting impact on both the cultural and political spheres of Europe. Henrietta Maria's political and social impact was profound, particularly during her time as Queen Consort of England. Her marriage to King Charles I marked a significant political alliance between England and France, which had implications for both countries' relations with other European powers. However, her role in English politics was often contentious due to the religious and political divisions of the time. As a Catholic queen in a predominantly Protestant nation, she faced constant challenges to her authority and influence at court. Despite this, Henrietta Maria remained a committed supporter of her husband's reign and worked tirelessly to secure his power, particularly during the early years of the English Civil War. Her involvement in the war further solidified her political impact. Henrietta Maria sought to raise funds and troops for the royalist cause by appealing to foreign powers, particularly France, for support. She played a key role in organizing financial and military resources for the monarchy, though the war ended in the defeat of the royalists. Nevertheless, her determination and leadership were notable, and her efforts demonstrated her political savvy and commitment to the royalist cause. Socially, Henrietta Maria's impact extended to the arts and culture, where she became a prominent patron. Her support helped to elevate the cultural life of the English court, particularly in theater, music, and literature. Her legacy in this regard is often seen in the flourishing of the arts during her time at court, including the works of playwrights such as Ben Jonson and the continued development of English music and dance. Henrietta Maria's legacy as a political figure and cultural patron remains significant, especially as the monarchy was eventually restored by her son, Charles II. In her final years, Henrietta Maria faced the weight of both personal and political loss. After the execution of her husband, King Charles I, in 1649, she lived in exile in France, far from the land she once ruled. Despite the turmoil surrounding her, she remained a strong and resilient figure. Henrietta Maria found solace in her faith and her family, particularly her children, whom she fiercely protected and supported. Her focus shifted toward ensuring their futures, with a particular emphasis on securing the restoration of the monarchy. Henrietta Maria's health began to deteriorate in the years leading up to her death in 1669. She had endured many personal tragedies, and her exile was marked by the constant grief of losing her husband and the crown. Yet, she continued to be a figure of influence in French politics, maintaining strong ties with her family in France, particularly her brother, King Louis XIII. She spent her final days at the Château de Colombes, near Paris, where she passed away peacefully. In reflection, Henrietta Maria's life is remembered as one of determination and endurance. Despite the many challenges she faced, from political turmoil to personal loss, she remained devoted to her family and her royalist ideals. Her legacy is marked by her unwavering loyalty to her husband and her significant role in both English and French history. Henrietta Maria's influence as a queen consort, political figure, and mother helped shape the future of the monarchy, particularly through her son, Charles II. Henrietta Maria's life and legacy are a testament to resilience, loyalty, and political acumen. From her early years as a princess in France to her marriage with King Charles I, Henrietta Maria navigated the complexities of royal life during a time of political and religious strife. Despite the challenges she faced, including the English Civil War, the loss of her husband, and years of exile, Henrietta Maria remained a figure of strength and determination. Her contributions to the arts, her unwavering support for the royalist cause, and her dedication to her family left an indelible mark on both English and French history. Henrietta Maria's legacy also extends through her children, particularly King Charles II, who eventually restored the monarchy after years of turmoil. Her impact on the political and social landscape of her time cannot be overstated, as she played a pivotal role in shaping the future of the monarchy and European relations. Her story is one of perseverance in the face of adversity, and her life remains an inspiration to those who study the history of monarchy, politics, and culture. What do you think about Henrietta Maria's legacy? How do you think her role in history influenced the monarchy and European politics? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights into historical figures and their lasting impact on our world. Thank you very much for watching.